Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rapid Report, and what you are about to see is not political spin, not rumor, and not opinion. It is a developing situation unfolding in real time at the heart of American power. This morning, something unprecedented happened at the White House. Not behind closed doors, not in classified briefings, not in leaked memos, but in plain sight. If you walked past 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue today, you would not see a symbol of strength or stability. You would see a halted construction site, silent cranes, federal tape, and a massive excavation where a historic part of the White House once stood. At exactly 8 o'clock a.m., a federal judge ordered an immediate and indefinite stop to construction on President Trump's highly controversial $400 million Grand Ballroom project. The ruling is sweeping. The language is severe, and the implications are enormous. This rapid report breaks down what the court actually ordered, why the funding behind the project collapsed, how national security claims unraveled under judicial scrutiny, and why this halted construction site is now being described as a symbol of a presidency under intense pressure. This is not about architecture. This is not about design. This is about law, governance, accountability, and leadership. Stay with us, because what's happening here may reshape not only the White House itself, but the political narrative heading into the next critical chapter of American history. This morning, if you walk past 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, you will not see the stately symbol of American democracy. You will not see continuity, stability, or authority. What you will see instead is a disaster zone. Where the historic east wing of the White House once stood, there is now a massive mud-filled crater. Yellow cranes stand frozen above it, like scavengers. Orange safety fencing wraps the site like a warning label. Heavy machinery sits idle, and for the first time in months, there is something far more unsettling than noise. There is silence. At 8 o'clock a.m. on Monday, January 26, 2026, all construction on President Donald Trump's controversial $400 million Grand Ballroom was ordered to an immediate and indefinite halt by a federal judge. The project is not paused, it is not delayed, it is legally dead. What preservationists have long called the ballroom from hell has finally collapsed under the weight of its own lies. And in doing so, it has become the most powerful physical metaphor yet for a presidency that has run out of money, credibility, allies, and time. A court order that reads like an indictment. The ruling came from Judge Richard Leon, a Reagan-appointed federal judge known for restraint and institutional loyalty. That makes what followed even more devastating. His 40-page injunction does not merely stop construction. It accuses the Trump administration of willful deception, statutory vandalism, gross fiscal negligence, abuse of national security claims. In plain terms, the court concluded that the White House demolished a historic federal structure without having the money to rebuild it, relying on imaginary funding and false justifications. Trump, already weakened by the Davos humiliation, the Japanese bond market collapse, and the seizure of his New York properties, was blindsided in his own backyard. He went to bed expecting concrete pause for his legacy monument. He woke up to a federal marshal taping a cease and desist order to the White House construction fence. The money was never there. The official justification was simple. The money was gone. Trump had promised the American public that taxpayers would not pay a cent. He claimed the $400 million price tag would be fully covered by patriotic billionaire donors. He framed it as a gift to the nation. That promise has now been exposed as fiction. According to sealed filings unsealed by the court, the funding was based on non-binding pledges from hedge fund managers, real estate magnates, and casino tycoons. The familiar faces of the mega donor class. No escrow, no secured funds, no guarantees. When the Treasury Department attempted to collect the actual cash on Friday, the donors vanished. One major donor, a Las Vegas casino billionaire, who had pledged $50 million, formally withdrew his pledge Saturday night, citing market volatility and fiduciary responsibility to shareholders. Judge Leon's response was brutal. The executive branch has demolished a historic federal structure on the promise of replacement funds that do not exist. This court will not allow the People's House to become an abandoned construction site fueled by phantom capital and broken promises. Fill the hole or find the money. The implications are extraordinary. The judge ordered an immediate stop work order and gave the General Services Administration 30 days to present a remediation plan. If funding is not secured, the site must be restored. That means filling in the hole. Think about that for a moment. The President of the United States may be legally forced to undo his own demolition, leaving the White House smaller and less functional than when he took office. Trump could become the president who destroyed the East Wing and replaced it with grass. The king wanted a castle. He may leave behind a lawn. The national security lie collapses. The most damning aspect of the ruling concerns national security. To bypass historic preservation laws, the administration claimed the Grand Ballroom was necessary to house a new secure underground command center to replace the aging PEOC. That claim has now imploded. During the hearing, the judge unsealed a classified Secret Service report the White House had tried to suppress. The report reveals that the Secret Service opposed the project outright. It warned that the open excavation created severe vulnerabilities, including exposure to drone surveillance, acoustic intelligence gathering, and tunneling threats. The proposed glass-walled ballroom was described as a security nightmare, a sniper's paradise, and a surveillance magnet. The court concluded that national security was not the reason for the project. It was the excuse. Legally, that matters. Under federal law, historic structures cannot be destroyed for vanity projects. And once the security justification collapses, the entire legal defense collapses with it. A monument to failure in plain sight, politics is optics, and these optics are catastrophic. Trump built his brand on control, perfection, and dominance. Gold towers, flawless image, absolute authority. Instead, the view from the presidential residence is now a mud pit. For months, staff meetings in the Oval Office were disrupted by construction noise, beeping trucks, pile drivers drilling. Now, the silence is worse. The machinery no longer works. It simply accuses. Every visiting foreign leader will now be driven past the Trump crater. Every television stand-up from the North Lawn will frame yellow cranes in the background. The White House itself has become a backdrop of incompetence. This project is behind schedule, over budget, unfunded, and illegal. It perfectly mirrors Trump's broader predicament. Donors flee, unions walk. Allies fracture. Why did donors really pull out? The market crash was the excuse. The real reason was reputational toxicity. After Davos, where Trump was openly mocked, associating your name with a Trump ballroom became a liability. CEOs and hedge fund managers do not want their names engraved in marble on a project being sued by preservation groups and investigated by federal courts. Worse, donors realized the ballroom might never be finished or could be demolished by the next administration. Meanwhile, union laborers walked off the job before the ruling. They demanded payment guarantees. Contractors couldn't provide them. Trump's long history of stiffing builders in New York and Atlantic City was not forgotten. The builder president lost the builders. Legal exposure turns criminal. The ruling also opens a terrifying legal front. Judge Leon ordered the administration to produce donor affidavits by Wednesday. If those documents show that officials told the court the money was secured when it was not, that could constitute fraud on the court and potentially perjury. Someone could go to jail, not the president, but senior officials, GSA leadership, or campaign finance operatives. What began as a construction dispute is now sliding toward criminal investigation. A presidency reduced to a hole in the ground. This week tells the story. A lie at Davos, a crash in Tokyo, a seizure in New York, and now a crater in Washington. The foundations of the Trump presidency, money, fear, image, competence, have eroded. Just like the East Wing, they are gone. The president cannot build. He cannot borrow. He cannot brag. He can only stare out his window at the mud. The Grand Ballroom was supposed to be his legacy. Instead, it may become the most damning symbol of his rule, a demolished presidency, frozen in place, waiting to be filled in. The builder has become the destroyer, and the hole on Pennsylvania Avenue is the proof. What we are witnessing is more than a paused construction project. It is a moment where law collides with power, where promises collide with reality, and where optics collide with accountability. A project announced as a gift to the nation now stands frozen by the very institutions designed to protect national heritage, public trust, and constitutional order. Whether funding reappears or the site is restored, one thing is already clear. This episode will leave a permanent mark on the political landscape. And this story is far from over. Court filings are pending. Donor disclosures are expected. Federal agencies are under review. We will continue to track every development, clearly, factually, and without fear or favor. If you value independent analysis, serious reporting, and clear explanations without shouting or spin, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like this video to help it reach more viewers. Share it so others can understand what's really happening. And subscribe so you don't miss the next Rapid Report as this story evolves. Thank you for watching. This is Rapid Report, and we'll be back fast.